Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother in Islam, John Starling, Abu Ibrahim, and I am coming to you live from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. That is East Africa, the Swahili coast. It is around 9 p.m. or so, and of course it is a great pleasure and a privilege to be joining you broadcasting live this evening, along with some of my colleagues and friends, the alumni from the Islamic University of Medina. We do hope that you will find benefit here on our page and engage with us, inshallah, and also to spread the news that this is a new program that is being head up by the admins of this page. They are going to be arranging numerous broadcasts so that we can share with you just some reminders and hopefully some good words. So this evening I have prepared a quick 3, 4, 5 minute reminder about considering others. Considering others. We know that in Islam there's a great deal of importance put on sincerity, which sometimes may be presented as a lack of concern for considering others in the way that they see your actions. A person may say, well, I don't care what you think of what I'm doing. I'm sincere for Allah. I'm sincerely worshiping Allah. If you like it or you don't like it, then it's of no harm to me. And that's true in one sense, that the intention is very, very important. This is key. In fact, the intention, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, as we all know this famous hadith from Umar ibn Khattab. And he says, the Prophet ﷺ said, indeed, actions are by their intentions. So there's no doubting that. And then also considering the coupling ahadith that go with this regarding the nature of the action that is done, that it should be done according to the Islamic legislation, that our actions have to be not only sincere, but in accordance with our tradition. That doesn't mean that we should turn away from considering people and how they respond to our good deeds. So I'll give you an example, hopefully to clarify what I mean by this. Living in Saudi Arabia for a number of years, and having numerous friends from all over the world, especially my counterparts from the United States and the West. We were new, a lot of us, to Arab culture and tradition. We're living right there among the people, most of us. And we would have neighbors that we would share time with, whether it was meals or just sharing the neighbors, being neighbors together. We would, we would have to interact and engage with people. And this is where it's important that you consider other people, especially your neighbors, those that are closest to you in proximity. So there's a tradition of hospitality in that part of the world, that if they give you something, they give you some food, they give you some type of good treatment, especially if they send something over to your house, then you should return the favor by returning back something to eat. So if they send over a dish, typically you're supposed to put food in the dish. They sent over a tray of food, then typically you're supposed to put food when you return the dishes back to the neighbors that gave it to you. So this was explained actually to someone that was over there, and they said, look, it's kind of a social taboo, or it's frowned upon, that if your neighbor gives you something, that you return the tray and the bowls and the plates empty. And that it was left like that, very, very general, because one of our counterparts over there, American, they said, look, my neighbor brought all this food over, all these dishes, gave us a great meal. I'm not used to that. What am I supposed to do? So they said, look, it's great. That's a great neighborly thing. Now you just have to put something in the dishes and send it back. So they thought, well, okay. So from what I understand, they put a little salt in each one of those dishes. Understanding, well, you should just put something in there, don't return them empty. They thought, well, symbolic, I'll just put some salt or something, like it's some tradition that there would be. I don't know what the thought process was. However, the intent of it was pure. Their intention was pure. They wanted to return the dishes and also do it in a graceful manner, so that what they understood was you can't return empty dishes. You have to return dishes with something in there. So they put salt in there with a pure intention, I'm sure. But the desired result was not achieved. The desired result was not achieved. So a part of your good deeds and actions, especially when it comes to your interacting with those that are around you, you have to consider the outcome. You have to consider the outcome of your actions. Is it going to meet and obtain the objective you were after? So if it was that you wanted to please, exactly, salt, if you wanted to please your neighbor and show your gratitude to their service to you, then you have to really get to know what's the right thing to do. This is, of course, the role and importance of knowledge, not only religious knowledge, but also the knowledge of your environment, cultural norms, what's acceptable, right? Because when it comes to manners and etiquette, there are some very clear-cut things in Islam that are considered good manners and good etiquette, or bad manners or poor etiquette. But there's also an open door to consider different cultures, different peoples, norms, and standards. So those are things that a person has to learn if they live in their own society, or especially if they visit another culture and another people. They need to consider what is normal for them. Right here it says social awkwardness and cultural ignorance, unintended consequences, right? So here is where the role of sincerity, of course, is important. There's no doubt, but considering others in your actions. And so the hadith that I want to share and sort of support of my point, so that you don't think I'm just making these things up. Though this is very rational and very logical, anyone would say it makes sense. Of course, it makes perfect sense. However, we find this very thing very particularly said, and the Prophet ﷺ, this was narrated in Sunan Ibn Majah, and this was a hadith, authentic hadith. The Prophet ﷺ was asked by a man, he said, how do I know if I've done well or I have done poorly? He says, كيف لي أن أعلم إذا أحسنت أو أسدت, something to this wording. How do I know if I've done well or I've done poorly? So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you hear your neighbors say. So here you're going to take a consensus. Of course, you're not going to be worried about a one-off or two isolated incidents, but if you hear all of your neighbors, a consensus of your community, he says, say, قد أحسنت, that you have done good, فقد أحسنت, then you have done good. So here you are basing the reaction and the response of those that are on the receiving end of your service or your actions or your behavior, your manners. If they hold the opinion and view that you've done well, as a consensus, as the majority, then you've done well. So you have some feedback here immediately. He says, وَإِذَا سَمِعْتُهُمْ يَقُولُونَ قَدْ أَسَدْتَ, if you hear them say you've done poorly, فَقَدْ أَسَدْتَ, then it means that you've done poorly, even if your intention was pure. And this is crucial, because sometimes we may upset others, we may offend others, we may come off as hard or perhaps even negligent in the way that we treat people. We may come off as harsh or even negligent in the way that we deal with others. But we say, but my intention was pure. My intention was pure. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't mean anything by it. And that is important. However, the second half of that is obtaining the desired results of your good service, and that is making sure that the people are happy as well with what you're doing. And I hope that the example with the salt is a good example, and I'm sure that you could perhaps think of some examples of your own, or perhaps some experiences that you had in the past with perhaps intending to do good, thinking what you're doing is right, and it actually backfired and turned out that it was poor quality. So I would like to hear, and I'm sure everyone else on our page here, the admin, the members, the followers, the subscribers, please subscribe if you haven't done so. We would love to hear some of your examples and perhaps some of your lessons that you've learned either through your travels, I'm sorry, this is too funny, salt in the wound, through your travels or your local domestic interactions with your neighbors, right? So Islam has a lot to teach us when it comes to etiquette and manners, and it also teaches us to consider others, that you want to be treating others as you want to be treated, and of course, you want to be treated in the best of ways. If you're not careful and in tune with those that are around you, and this is what I like to call having a high social IQ. Right? We all need to have a good IQ in terms of smarts and be able to grasp concepts, but we also need to develop a high social IQ so that we can understand how we are coming across and affecting those that are around us, and that we do that in the best of manners. So I won't take too much of your time, just a little reminder, a little something that hopefully you can apply throughout the rest of the day and hopefully into your week. Don't forget to drop us a comment here, engage with us a little bit, share some comments, perhaps even add some benefit if you have some benefit to add, and inshallah we will be in touch with you. And always look forward to who's next up to bat. I'm also, I don't know, but I'm very excited to know who is coming up live either later today or tomorrow and throughout the week. So please share with your friends. We would enjoy to have more of you online, and I'm sure that this will grow. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you, to bless your families, to bless your neighbors, and to increase the relationship that you have with people with ihsan. That's what we're after. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah has prescribed ihsan for everything, every single thing, and that includes the way that we engage with one another, right? Before I go, I do want to just drop this, just popped into my mind, so I have to share it before I go, because this is my only day. This may resonate with some of you, the I'ma do me attitude. I'ma do me attitude, meaning I'm not going to care about what other people think, because I'ma do me. Here we can see that this is a dangerous, slippery slope to be jumping onto I'ma do me and not worried about what other people's, because no, we're concerned. We're concerned about ourselves. We're concerned about pleasing Allah, but we're also concerned about our effect on other people and how we interact with them. Jazakallah khair. I'll conclude with that and leave you to it. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wa jazakallahu khaira.